in the East Anglia area where we were stationed. For example, the 323rd group overlapped our group traffic pattern, so we couldn't have more than one group in one place at the same time and do it very safely. However, at the appointed time, we proceeded on course. We got down near the Isle of Wight, off southern England, and then turned toward Cherbourg. We were down now to around 7,000 feet, and it appeared that we were going to have to go lower, but that was all right. We had planned to do that. There became an incredibly awesome sight. Steaming off to our left were supposedly, it's been reported many times, over 5,000 ships crossing the channel. I'm telling you, they were really crowded in there. In addition to those 5,000 ships, there were battleships, cruisers, light cruisers, destroyers, and their escorts, and PT boats, and all kinds of craft milling around down there. As we approached Cherbourg, then you could see the shells coming from the coast and also the shells from these ships. Then came a real shocker. I'm approaching Cherbourg. The city of Cherbourg is off to my right, 2 o'clock position about, proceeding all along, everything going according to Hoyle, we thought. I look around, and here's a flight of 6 B-26s now, just cutting me off in my pattern. I don't know what to do. He's occupying space that I'm supposed to be occupying in the next just very few seconds. I can't do a 360. I can't make a circle because of the time constraints. All I could think of to do was to make gentle S turns, which is what I did. Took up a slight bit of interval behind this flight of 6. I figured he must have missed the rest of his group, and he proceeded on. He was eager enough that he was going to go and complete his mission. His initial point on the bomb run and so on must have been nearly the same as ours, because I followed him right down the bomb run. He was experiencing light flak, as I could see from the tracers coming up. We were then at 5,000 feet, the base of the clouds right above us. In fact, maybe the tip of the tail could have been in the clouds for all I know. Proceeding along with this light flak, one round of flak must have hit a critical point, perhaps in the bomb bay where the bomb's armed. One B-26 exploded. And I thought, I'd made some unkind thoughts to myself when this flight cut me off there a few minutes before. Now I withdrew all those unkind thoughts that I had and said, and I thanked them for being in my position at that time. We proceeded on a few moments, bombs away. We made a gentle climbing turn to the right. As I said, the clouds are right above us. I made a gentle turn in order to enable the wingmen to stay in position. They stayed in position. We turned almost 180 out to about a westerly heading. We broke out of, after about 1,000 to 1,500 feet of climbing through the clouds. We observed the Channel Islands off to our right, where the Germans had some anti-aircraft guns. We saw some flashes from the rounds being fired, and I thought it might be for us. We didn't get any, so we figured they were firing at aircraft maybe above them. Proceeded uneventfully home, back to base, mission complete. At that time, some of you older soldiers may remember the Army Hour, which was a very popular, well-received program put on by the National Broadcasting System, National Broadcasting Company, every Sunday. And I was invited to appear on that Army Hour, along with the major from 9th Fighter Command and one from 9th Troop Carrier Command. We accepted, and we met at a certain place over there, and the NBC officials taped us in a short briefing. Maybe you're going to hear something. I'm not sure about this, but the NBC announcer told me that since this was the first mission after D-Day, the whole world had been waiting for D-Day, you know, and here it was, and this was the first Sunday after D-Day, so they anticipated an even larger than normal audience. He told me that you will probably be speaking to more than 20 million people here today. And I thought that wasn't bad for being my first appearance.
From this 9th Air Force Base, you will hear 3 pilots who led their squadrons, 3 men who are representative of the thousands battling from the air in close cooperation with the ground troops. Multiply their personal experience thousands of times, and then you may estimate the air arm's contribution to the great Trifibian invasion force's success. Major Robert M. McLeod of Reno, Nevada, Bomber Command. Major McLeod flew submarine patrol and convoy escort out of Panama and Trinidad before being assigned to his present marauder group. Since then, he has led many missions over France, and in a way, D-Day meant nothing new to him. In a way, D-Day for Bomber Command came a year ago. The main difference is that now the ground forces are in there, and we're hitting the targets that will help them most. The first one assigned to my squadron on the morning of June 6th was an enemy strong point right on the beach, and we hit it just 10 minutes before the first troops came ashore. Timing like that is only possible when you have complete coordination. That afternoon, we knocked out another coastal emplacement. Bomber Command has been flying 2 and 3 missions every day as possible. Most of the time, because of the weather, we've had to come in low, and that's bad news in flak areas, but we've been hitting marshalling yards and communications, bridges and troop concentrations, anything and everything to open up the Nazi guard and let the boys on the ground jab the winning punch home.
D-Day was not the end, but when Allied soldiers were securely in place on the continent, it assured the end. At the outset of our program today, we promised the marauder story. What we have shown covers a bit of that story, very briefly, yet it has taken us over 5 hours. If we were to finish, it might take another 5 hours. With apologies for what is left out, we have but 2 more things to cover today. I'm sure the second one will warrant your applause. You've been here a long time, but be sure that you see this ending. But first, our bird was abused throughout its history, but this next episode was perhaps the most painful abuse of all. You may be inclined to hiss and boo at his presentation, but just remember that he was in the military and only following orders. John Egan.
I took movies to document some of the things we were ordered to do. I had a 16mm movie camera that I took overseas with me. And it so happens that that movie camera took exactly the same film magazine that our gun cameras took. We didn't have the gun cameras, but the fighters did. And Ab Zemke happened to land his P-47 at our base one day. I got some more film. Anyway, there's a picture that I'm sure that some of you would like to see again and again. This may be the last time you'll ever see that picture. That's a B-26, the 322nd Bomb Group coming back from an actual mission over Nazi Germany. And I noticed that one of our aircraft was missing. And if we knew what day it was, Trevor Allen could probably tell us what happened. These fighter airplanes that you saw out there were lined up so the tails could be chopped off by a bulldozer. These are some of the sights we saw when we came back, got to Kitzingen. This is at Kitzingen Air Base in Germany. Some of them are a little difficult to see, and maybe that's a good thing. When I arrived in Kitzingen, one of the first things I did was, of course, to take these pictures. Then the second thing I did, I got assigned a job, and the job is coming up pretty quick. You will notice that some of the aircraft, these magnificent B-26s that we have and that we have flown, that I flew, that a lot of you have flown, were being destroyed. These remind me to tell you that this is some of the things we did in Germany. The 322nd Bomb Group went to Germany on air disarmament work, and that is some of the things we did. So we took care of some of the aircraft engines that the Germans had left us. We locked them up for them.